And we'll start with destructuring as a way to undo the habitual patterns of breathing and moving that are in our bodies. Think of your body like a ball of yarn that's a mess, like a rat's nest of yarn. We're going to undo all of that until we have something workable. And then the restructuring will be when we take that yarn and make it into something recognizable that we want to communicate. So, where to start from there? Yeah, okay, so now let's go around and say your name. I'm going to do 2 rounds of names, and that's mostly for me, but we'll do them in a different way. So the first round is just this. Full inhale, full exhale, inhale again, and speak your name. Okay? So on your turn, take the time for all of that breath before you speak, like so. I'm Donya.
I'm Mark.
I'm Byron.
Jerry. Jim. Lori.
Don.
David. Ed.
Catch the guy in the back.
Carl.
Good.
Don. I'm George. And I'm here. Laura. Larry.
Patty. Karen.
I'm Charlie.
I'm Donya.
Thank you. Will you take a full breath in and a full breath out, and then another full breath in and say your name?
Al.
Thank you. So, what's that like? To take
Awkward.
that time. Yeah, awkward. Relaxing, yeah. What else? Anything else?
Time consuming.
Time consuming? We got 3 hours to fill. We got a lot of meetings today.
More resident.
More resident. Yeah, just from taking the time to breathe. Cool. Anything else that comes up?
Unusual. Oh, unusual.
Unusual?
I noticed that it gives you time to actually pay attention to each person,
Yeah.
which is very useful.
Yeah. What is it like when it's your turn and you're having all that attention paid to you? Nerve-wracking? Yeah, yeah. Anybody else find that? Anybody have a different experience?
Actually, I found it calming.
You found a comment? Okay, cool. Sure.
I thought it was interesting, everyone basically took on the same technique, just saying their name as opposed to part they sing, or do they belong?
Right.
Of course they belong to.
Yeah. Okay, great. So let's go a step deeper now. We don't have to do the full breath, but do allow yourself time to breathe. And allow yourself time to be with yourself in this possibly weird, awkward, unusual situation. And let yourself experience whatever you are experiencing. Just notice what that is. So part of that is to notice something that you are feeling, a physical sensation that you're feeling. Rather than, I'm Donya and I'm so excited to be here, which might be true, but doesn't really tell you anything much that's true. I might say instead, I'm Donya and I feel some pressure in the back of the right side of my head right now. So wait until it's your turn to check with yourself rather than planning, okay, I know I can feel my toes, so I'm going to say something about my toes. Just wait until it's your turn and you might have an experience of something coming up that then you will notice.
I'm Marg, and I can feel some sweat running down the back of my neck.
I'm Byron, and I don't feel any pressure or stress at all.
What parts of your body tell you that? You might have a positive sensation too.
Yeah, I just feel totally relaxed, all of it,
How can you tell?
because I know what it's like when I'm stressed.
Oh, okay, so what is absent that you notice?
Any type of worry,
Okay.
any type of concern or worry
Where does the concern or worry live where it isn't now?
in my chest.
Ah, okay, so there's some ease in your chest. Right, thank you. I'll keep asking those kinds of questions until we actually get to a sensation, just in case you're curious.
Jim, please join us.
Jim, would you say your name and a physical sensation that you feel at this moment?
Lomas and hot butt.
Okay.
Jerry, my eyes are very heavy and I'm feeling weary after a long week in Toronto.
Are you ready to sit down? And Jim, I just felt my shoulders.
Piece of having a voice and being able to breathe. And so it's an excellent way to start, just to go, well, what is it that I'm actually feeling at this moment? And I appreciate your honesty with, well, this hurts and this hurts and this doesn't feel good. When you speak in an honest way about what's actually going on in your body, I have an easier time seeing you, each of you. And I think I've got almost all of your names. It's just taking that time to do that as well. So a couple of invitations, let's say, before we get down onto the floor. You don't have to do any of this. Part of having a voice is having a choice, and you're welcome to exercise that in either direction. You're invited to be non-compliant. So if I say, we're going to get down onto the floor, and you're like, no, I don't want to do that, my body doesn't feel like doing that, that is an absolutely wonderful expression of your voice. So please take that, or you can say, why are we doing this? I don't get it, it's weird, it's not working, it's hurting, any of those things. So you're absolutely invited to be non-compliant. That's your voice at work. How many of you have a mat or something comfy to lie on? Most. Great. Okay, I have 3 mats there, the 2 orange and 1 purple one that you're welcome to. If you have an extra, marvelous. So, find your mat and find a place that's all over the floor. Okay, finish the breath you're on and open your eyes. So I see a couple of variations, but they mostly look something like, there's some differences in direction and that kind of thing. Does that feel like what you have in your body, everybody? A couple of exceptions which I'll get to. You got some forward, yeah. Okay, so in order to discover a released breath, it helps us to discover what a released arm is. So if you lift up one arm to the side and feel your shoulder muscle, it's flexed, right? That's what lifts your arm. So if you let go of your deltoid shoulder muscle, what happens? Yeah, your arm falls down. So if you inhale and then let go of your arms, how does the breath release in a different way? Try that. It's quicker. Yeah, so if you were a person who had this kind of going on, there's some control in the shoulder, and because we're then matching the breath to that control, that means there's also some control somewhere in the abdomen or in the throat, and that's stopping the breath from releasing. So if we let go of the arms, we just let the breath fall. It's a truly released breath. Try that a couple times and just feel how that feels. And it might not be all the way up to your shoulders. It might just be a little breath, or you might find a yawn that takes you way up higher. Allow yourself to pause in between to ask your body, what kind of breath do I want now? And with a yawny feeling in your throat, add a bit of a sound to that. Like a sigh. Great. There's one or two folks who are getting that kind of action where the hands are slapping on the legs, and that gives us a little bit more of a flex in the belly, which then gets rid of the air fast, and that puts some extra stress on the voice. So just let it fall. If you get a little rebound with your arms at the bottom, it's a good indication that your arms are releasing. So this sound, the fluffy sound, means nothing more than I simply exist, I am here. However, at any given moment, you may have some sort of experience come up through you. You may be amused by something, or you may feel a thought that gives you sadness or melancholy or the whole range of human emotions, and then that might be something like that, or So in the moment, whatever comes can come, and those sounds may turn into what we would call an expressive sound. Those sorts of things. But then we come back to just the fluffy sound, baseline, I exist. Take a walk around the room and explore with the fluffy sound, and if you meet a person, you might you don't have to meet that person, and you don't have to say at the same time. They might see you and you might not see them, and there's no, if you don't want to encounter any other people, you don't have to. But see what happens for you.
Maybe.
Gradually find your way back to your own mat. If you meet people on the way, great. So what happened?
Even though it's not more relaxed.
Uh-huh.
I
Ah, yeah.
didn't really matter what the other person was doing,
Mm-hmm.
if they were prepared for it or not.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like,
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
yeah.
That was a little louder.
A little louder?
Communicate.
Uh-huh, just that little intention to communicate. Okay, interesting. What else happened?
I agree with that notion, yeah.
It was louder.
That's intention to communicate.
Yes, absolutely. And that is part of structuring, which we'll get to in later. So we're still unraveling the ball. So we're going to get down to your mats or the floor if you're an unfortunate soul who doesn't have a mat. And we're going to get down using the fluffy sound and using the weight of the body, the breath, and the voice simultaneously, let's say. So imagine that I've got a mat here. I'm going to go, oh. Oh. And I'm going to kind of climb down sideways. Once you're down, use the frothy sound and the breath to move you onto your back. So the only path that we don't want to take is this one that grabs here and grabs here and grabs here, and then you have to undo a bunch of stuff once you're down. The reason for going sideways and forward is that so your whole front body can release on the way down. Come on down. Check out how you feel now. Notice which parts of you are touching the ground. How does your breath feel different on your back? You can still make a puppy sound if you like to, or you can just allow breath. If you have an experience of pain and it wants to go, let it come out through your open throat instead. The only place in the body where we don't want to have tension is right at the vocal folds. It's actually okay to have tension anywhere else as we vocalize. It's tension that allows us to feel what we feel. Little bits of energy. That's how we can know how we feel. The only place we don't want that is right in the throat. So if you feel like there's something you want to catch there, send it higher so that the energy from your body, from whatever painful spot you may have, or pleasurable spot for that matter, can go hit your soft palate instead. Bless you. Feel your feet touching the ground, perhaps your heels or the sides of your feet. Your knees are bent at the bottoms of your feet. Notice if they feel the same as each other, or maybe they feel different. don't have to change anything, you can just notice it. Notice your ankles. Huh. Imagine your breath going all the way down to your ankles. Even though that's not technically possible, but you can certainly get red blood cells that are freshly oxygenated down there. Huh. Notice your shins and your calves. Feel the pattern of contact that each of your lower legs is making on the floor. Invite those muscles to melt down onto the floor. Notice your knees. Imagine sending a puff of breath into your knees. And are you still breathing? Are you allowing yourself to breathe at this moment? That phrase, allow yourself to breathe, is something that I'll come back to pretty often. Notice your thighs. Invite your muscles of your thighs to release into the floor. Long and heavy away from your center. Feel the weight of your pelvis on the floor. Notice your low belly. Check out if the breath is going there or not. Just to notice. Notice the small of your back, the curves of your spine. Remember, you're invited to be non-compliant, so if you're not comfortable, move into some other position that you're comfortable. Notice your back ribs. Feel your chest, maybe opening, maybe not. Feel your shoulders heavy. Notice your arms long away from you, along the floor. Notice your neck. Curve of it. Notice the weight of your head. The softness of the skin of your face. Notice your tongue inside your mouth. Invite it to release, especially if it's stuck to the roof of your mouth. And lastly, allow your jaw to drip toward the back of your head. Or, if you're on your side or on your front, just allow it to drip toward the floor. Notice that if you're on your back and your jaw is releasing, it's not going to go down toward your chest. It's going to go down to the floor behind your head. Notice your breath again. Check out what a fluffy sound feels like here. Okay, and bring your knees up to your chest and hold on to them with your arms. And give yourself a really intense squeeze. Bring your head up to your knees as gently as you can and squeeze every part of your body, including your toes, including your face, including your pelvic floor, including your belly, your back, your tongue, your jaw. Bring everything, squeeze everything. And allow yourself to breathe at the same time and notice what happens to your breath when you're squeezing. You can imagine squeezing out something that you no longer want or need. And then release onto the floor. And stretch wide open into an X along the floor, arms and legs far away from your center. Allow And release onto the floor again. And begin to shake your hips vigorously side to side. And that might shake your breath. And that might shake your voice. And allow your arms to shake along the floor. And your arms might float up into the air and start to shake. They might float up right in front of you, right in front of your chest, straight up. Maybe your legs float up and you start kicking and shaking your legs in the air. Maybe one at a time. Allow your voice and your breath to be part of this. Shake something your heart hasn't shaken before. Find a new spot to shake. And let it all go to the floor. And notice how you feel now. And say out loud some sensation that you can feel at this moment, just whenever it comes out.
Shook up.
Tingling, blood flow, hot. Notice your breath. Notice that your breath is probably not under your conscious control at the moment. And that's what we're aiming for. A destructured breath is outside of the realm of your central nervous system. Or your outside the realm of your central nervous system. Your breath is being controlled by your autonomic nervous system, which then allows it to be probably more free. Whew. Whew. Okay. Allow yourself to breathe through this whole next exercise. Squeeze your right hand. And let yourself breathe. Now, squeeze your right foot and shake your right hand. And let yourself breathe. Notice if you stop breathing, when. Squeeze your left foot, shake your right foot, stretch your right hand. Did you stop breathing? Yes, so interesting. Stop breathing to think, stop breathing to listen, stop breathing to concentrate. All of those are possibilities. Okay, squeeze your left hand, shake your left foot, stretch your right foot, and release your right hand. Now, shake your left hand, stretch your left foot, release your right foot. Still breathing? Allow yourself to get as frustrated or as amused or whatever you feel, and express that with your voice.
Hi, Rick!
And shake your left hand and release your left foot. And release your left hand. Now, on your own, do the reverse. Or something that's like that. Figure it out. Can you do this while breathing? Can you concentrate and think and breathe? You're allowed to make sounds. You're allowed to make frustrated sounds. You're allowed to make amused sounds. You're allowed to make sounds. It's allowed to be messy. It's allowed to be wrong. It probably will be. This is an exercise in meeting yourself. Hello. Okay. Give yourself one more little shake to finish. With your voice and your breath involved. And roll onto your right side for a little moment of rest. Can you breathe as you move? When you are ready, and that truly means when you are ready. It doesn't mean when I finish talking. It means when your body is ready. Roll onto your hands and knees and drop your head and find your way up to standing in any way that's comfortable. Lay yourself breathe as you move. And once we're all standing, let's find our way back into a circle-ish formation. Oh. Notice for yourself what it is that you're feeling at the moment. How's your breath? How's your body? And while everybody is making their way up, you can just speak whenever you would like to speak and share with the group what that experience was like for you.
Very much so. Thanks for the input. I must have
Very relaxing.
Very relaxed.
Yes.
Lose a couple of things.
What parts of your body tell you that it's more relaxed?
My back's not hurting, my shoulder's not hurting, that's good.
Great, okay. What else did you notice?
When I was on the ground at first, I was like kind of break my foot on the floor.
Yeah.
And halfway through the exercise, I was floating over the floor. After the contractions and the
Yes.
combination of the
There's that wonderful paradox that the more we give into gravity, the lighter we feel. Strange, but wonderful. Anything more? Yep.
Well, considering I started off with the crank in my neck that I've had all day, if I get into that kind of position, chances are that I'm going to have two muscles on my back just go like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
So for about the first 30 seconds of the evolution, I was thinking, okay, when's it going to happen? And the more I relaxed, the less that seemed like it. I didn't have trouble until you started dictating what we were going to do on the floor. But once I had control over that situation myself and the option to do 3 or 4 things at the same time,
yeah.
then that became a little easier. So I would say that evolution was total relaxation for me.
Cool. So I'm hearing that there's a relationship for you between those muscles clenching and having some kind of outside pressure.
Yep.
That's fascinating. Cool. Okay, can you all see me? Can you get to a position where you can see me? Specifically my fingers? Yes, welcome and come in. And will you say your names?
Sorry, Debbie.
Hi. Sorry? Danielle. Hi. Welcome. Can you all see my finger? And George, can you hear me when I speak? Can you hear me?
No.
Okay.
Can't see it.
So, concentrate on the tip of my finger. So that everything else in the room disappears. Did it stop? What happened to yours? It just relaxed?
Yeah.
Uh-huh, okay.
More relaxed breathing.
More relaxed breathing?
And even breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't as deep.
Wasn't as deep. What else?
Mine was rhythmic.
Rhythmic?
I was
Uh-huh.
as a pace to
Uh-huh.
trying to concentrate.
Yes. Lower? Okay. Cool. Uh-huh.
Let me
Okay.
rephrase what I said.
Sure.
It didn't stop.
Right.
What it did was it just became less conscious of me going.
Sure. Yeah.
But I wasn't.
You know, it does stop for some people. I wasn't surprised to hear that at all. And I usually expect somebody to say that. So that's totally legit. So the way we breathe has a relationship to the way we allow ourselves to experience whatever it is that we're experiencing. So if you concentrate on my finger again, but also notice that you have feet, and that you're in a room with other beings, some of whom you know and some of whom you don't. And you can hear some sounds in the room. You can hear sounds maybe outside the room. Feel your body. How is your breath different?
Tenseness through here.
Tenseness here. What else?
Conscious of it,
Uh-huh.
conscious of everything.
Yeah. Yeah. What else?
A little more shallow.
More shallow? So the willingness to experience something is a lot like the willingness to breathe. Those things go together. So when, for example, or the need to concentrate, as we discovered, is related to the ability to breathe or the willingness to breathe as well. So imagine that you're on the risers and you're trying to see what your director is doing and remember your words and remember your notes and maybe remember choreography and think about maybe what your face is doing. What's that going to do to your breath?
Kill it.
Yeah, it's going to absolutely hijack your breath. So, a huge piece of this Fitzmaurice voice work is learning how to put yourself into situations that are physically stressful and breathe with it so that you can learn how to breathe with all kinds of situations. So, next piece is to get some more of the breathing open. So can I have a volunteer who will happily do this kind of a twist on the floor with me? Anyone?
Overdose.
I've never seen it that way. Throw your knees up to your chest. And rock and roll a little bit on your body until one of the rocks makes you tumble your whole self over to one side or the other. Okay, great. So your whole body is falling over that way. Now, reach your top arm far along the floor that way so that you can stretch this part of your back. Yeah, walk it as far away from you as you can. And then finger walk that hand up and over your head all the way until you are open to the other side of the twist. Let yourself breathe as you move. Yes.
Oh, yeah, breathe.
Oh yeah, breathe.
I stopped watching.
Yeah. Right? Even watching somebody else concentrate makes us stop breathing. That's how empathetic we are. Wow.
Boy, that hurts.
Okay. Great. How's that feeling?
Like a pretzel.
Like a pretzel. Okay. Where do you feel your breath going now?
When I wasn't thinking about it, it was higher.
Yes.
And then when I started to think about it, I pushed it lower.
Yes. And when you said like a pretzel, it was about here. And then when you breathed, it went, and your voice opened way up. Did you hear that? Yeah, fascinating. Okay, so can I put my hands on you?
Yes.
Okay. So what you're going to do as the partner, Ed, is you're going to put your hands on the ribs, and you're going to push the hip side away from you, and pull the arm side down toward this way. So we want to accentuate that twist, okay? Look at how awesome that breath is that just went in. Great. So you can actually push on the hip and open there. We're going to open all the way around the back. How's that feel?
Much more open.
Yeah, and your voice sounds
Strangely.
beautiful. Great. Wow. So that's all you're going to do with your partner, and you're going to do both sides. I'll get you to do this with somebody else so it's symmetrical. Okay? Find a partner who's about the same height, lungs are teardrop shaped like so. There's a lot of lung tissue down at the bottom. So the ribs are actually the only active way to breathe in. The belly needs to go passively out on the inhalation. So the ribs go out, belly releases. This is active, this is passive. On the exhalation, especially to vocalize, to communicate, the belly is active and the ribs passively come down slowly. For singing, we need to suspend them a little bit further. And this is kind of getting us ahead into the next step, which is wonderful. So just keep that little kernel. So now bring into your mind a song that you would like to play with over this next exercise. We're going to do one more thing on the floor. And during this thing, I'm going to invite you to use fluffy sound. And then I'm going to invite you to transition into gibberish. as a bridge between just sound and language. So you'll make speech type sounds. Shipwapa, dejabwa, mogazin, fabus nagala, like a bird. And then we'll go into lyrics of whatever piece you would like to play with at this moment. So when you have got a piece ready that you're going to play with, find your way back down to your back and I'll give you some instructions.
I get that one in my head. Like Mark.
Okay, just allow yourself to breathe. Find your fluffy sound. And squeeze and release your right hand. Continue doing that. And as you continue to squeeze and release your right hand, do that as a pleasure-seeking activity. Allow your wrist and your hand to twist, to wring out a little bit, writhe a bit, and let that movement, just your right hand, come up into your elbow. Let yourself breathe. Still pleasure-seeking. And let that movement come into your shoulder. Quite delicious. Allow your breath and your voice to be part of that experience. They might be expressing part of the pleasure that you experience. And then add in an asymmetrical fashion your left hand squeezing and releasing. Right hand and arm still going all the way up your shoulder. Notice how that's different. Are you still allowing yourself to breathe? With both hands doing separate things. Let the left hand movement go up into your elbow, up into your shoulder. Still pleasure seeking. And start to scrunch your toes of your right foot as well. In a way that feels delicious and good to you. Add your left toes. See if they will do some movements asymmetrically. Still breathing? Let the movement in your toes go up to your ankles. Your arms are still moving all the way up to the shoulder. And let the movement in your toes get up to your knees. Maybe that means you sort of roll onto a side or something. There's no right or wrong way to perform this movement or to experience this movement. You're just following your own sense of pleasure about how you would like to move in this moment. And allow your voice and your breath to be part of that. Let the movement in your legs go up to your hips as well. Toes, ankles, squeezing, twisting, wringing out, writhing. Let the shoulder movement go into your spine, your neck, your face, back. punchy speech, sounds full out on your breath. Pause for a moment and just breathe. Just breathe for a moment. Notice the difference between breathing to vocalize, or allowing the vocalizing to fall out of your breath. And the second option is what we're looking for. So keep moving, ringing, writhing your whole body. Maybe you end up on your side. Maybe you end up on your belly. A yawn might come. Involve your face. Find all the ways you can squeeze your face and push your face. And what kind of sound is that make? Every once in a while, drop in a lyric of your song. Twinkle little star, how I... And it doesn't have to be organized, it can be quite messy. And let your song fall out in slightly more organized phrases, but still messy. The breath doesn't quite go all the way. Little star, how I wonder what of the world so high. Use this time to play around in your voice. Give yourself a vigorous shake and release to the floor. Find your way up to standing. Allow yourself to breathe. Actually, you know what? Let's come to sitting. And if you're already standing, you can stand or you can sit back down. What was that like? How weird? Like what kind of weird?
Exhausting with, well,
It's work.
Concentration.
There's a whole bunch of units.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, sounds really weird, like, if you're rhythming around with it, like a little worm or something.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
uncomfortable,
Yeah.
embarrassing.
Sure, a sense of vulnerability.
Yeah,
Yeah. And were you able to breathe and be
Yeah.
vulnerable?
yeah.
Cool.
I wasn't on the floor doing it, but I was doing it up here.
Yeah, you
It
were doing
was
it.
really relaxing.
I know, doesn't it feel fantastic?
And I was thinking, I wonder if anyone on the street was like listening, they might wonder what was going on in his church. But it was really relaxing. It wouldn't be relaxing for me on the floor,
Right.
but it was really comfortable and it sounded kind of like an orchestra,
Yeah.
like moaning.
Yeah.
You know, so it was
What other experiences did you have?
Oh, my foot and Donya's nose.
so you want weird? I'll give you weird. So while I was on my back moving and trying to breathe, I was experiencing a lot of tension up here. As a matter of fact, the joints in my shoulders are sore.
Uh-huh.
Once I started actually audializing, or whatever it is.
Vocalizing?
Vocalizing,
Yeah.
that tension went away.
Yes.
No, that's weird. I would have expected the opposite to happen.
You know, that's not weird to me at all. Something that I have learned and that I observe regularly doing this work and when someone allows themselves to vocalize pain, it helps it to dissipate. And often what we do instead is we stop it right there. And then it doesn't get expressed. So that whatever that is in your body that needs to be heard doesn't get heard. And so it stays. But if you it out, it can change it quite a lot.
I think my back was hurt,
Yeah,
and then the more I kind of moved around,
yeah,
the less the smaller it was.
yeah. Cool, yeah.
So
well,
what I found was, sorry Paul, what I found when you said, clench right, symmetry on both feet,
yeah,
those once I knew how to do that, then I
Yeah.
could relax and breathe.
Yeah.
And sing,
yeah,
it was-
sure.
So it's just getting my mind to do all
Yeah.
those things
Sure.
at once.
There's that moment, right, where you're like, I have to do something asymmetrical, and then you make the choice to breathe through it, and it changes. You weren't finished talking.
Well, now I'm curious as to what, is it just the position on the floor that's causing the tension in my shoulders, or what?
Well, sometimes a clue can be in what sort of thoughts come up when you feel that.
It's not a question of thoughts, it's a question of position. Like, I really should have done this before I started lying on the floor.
Okay, so I really should have. Maybe that part of your experience of I really should have is. That makes sense?
Yeah.
When I did an exercise about neck release with my teacher a year ago or so, we were doing a really, really deep neck stretch, and my, hanging onto the neck like this, and my shoulder of the arm that was up kept creeping up. And he said, so how was that? And I said, I was really frustrated, that shoulder. He was like, so that shoulder maybe is part of how you experience frustration. And I went, oh, okay. Yeah, right? Yeah, fascinating. Any other thoughts before we move on?
I had trouble getting my voice at the start to do things without thinking about them. I've tried to control what I was doing. It took me a long time to get to a point where I was doing things that were a little less controlled.
Yeah.
And then when I tried to sing, it was hard to sing.
When it was less controlled, it was hard to sing?
Yeah, well, it didn't sound like a song. It just
Oh, okay.
kind of ran.
Right. That's the goal.
He also noticed this.
So far we haven't done anything restructured. So even the singing, I'm singing a song that doesn't make sense at all, and I don't know why it can come out like that, or all kinds of variations. Any more? Okay, let's take a 10-minute
Interfering spots like the jaw and the tongue and the neck before we do our restructuring half of things. Take your jaw in your hands, and when you're pulling down the skin of your face, when you get to the bottom of one side, pull the skin out sideways with your hand. There seems to be a relationship between the skin of the face and the actual muscles underneath. Just soften the skin. Let your eyes be kind of saggy as you do this. Notice if your belly might release at the same time. If you can breathe. Is it in fact safe for you to breathe with your jaw open? Is it safe for you to have your jaw open? Maybe it's not. So that's okay. It's very vulnerable to have your jaw open, and it's not something that we do very much. So it is a rather enormous thing to let go of. So if you're having a hard time letting go of it, letting go of it, that's okay. A lot of stuff that lives in there. Okay, just give it a little jiggle. Let the voice jiggle up a bit. And take your thumbs underneath
your tongue root underneath there. Yeah, let your voice be manipulated by that. Okay. Let your jaw hang down. Let your eyes be soft. Stick up one arm in the air and let it hang over your head. And let that arm drop down. And let that same shoulder sink down. Mine doesn't like to. That's frustrating. But maybe yours will cooperate better. Just let that arm be really heavy so that your neck is pulled down just by the gravity of your arm. And let your jaw fall over the same way. Let your voice express whatever it is you are feeling about this. Yeah, there might be some and tip your head a little bit toward the floor so you get a different stretch a little bit more in the back side of your neck. Let your voice express that feeling. Just make sure that your throat is open. And then tip your head a little more up to the ceiling and rearrange the top arm so that it can still have just gravity. Oh yeah, feel that feeling. Let the size of your voice match the size of the feeling that you're having. Let your tongue hang heavy. Come back to the first side position. And send your opposite arm away from you like you're trying to get that hand underneath the door, which will add some intensity and let your voice express that new intensity. And tip your face a little bit toward the floor and keep the intensity with your bottom arm. Notice if your jaw wants to kind of help or grab. Notice if your shoulder wants to help or grab. And invite them to let go so you can just have this experience. Tip your face up to the ceiling again. Keep your throat open as you express that intensity. And let your head come to the first position again. Let go of the bottom arm. Leave your head where it is and let the top arm drop off. And then use that hand to pick up your head so that your muscles of your neck don't have to work. Notice the difference between the two sides of your neck. And your voice can be part of whatever you notice. So from the side, we're going to give voice to the two sides of your neck. So first, the side that has already been stretched. Will you imagine that this part of you is speaking and say, "Hi, Donya," to me through that wide open neck?
Hi, Donya.
And will you, as though there's sort of a megaphone projecting the unstretched side through the openness of the stretched side, say "Hi, Donya" from the tight side through the open side? Hi, Donya. Yes. So there's a difference in what we hear there. The first one is this sort of thing that's wide open and it's just flopped open like that. And the second side, the one that has that energy that's still in there, we can hear a bit more opinion, a bit more vitality, really. There's more there's more that needs to be expressed from that side that hasn't stretched. But when we put it through the openness of the other side, we get this amazing, human, truthful, open sound that's super expressive. So that's an interesting thing to notice. Stick your other hand up in the air. Oh, let's get symmetrical again. Let it fall over your head. Oh, drop your jaw open. Oh. And let your arm hang down, taking your head with it. Let your voice express whatever you feel in this position. And let your head tip a little bit toward the floor. Oh, feel that new sensation and express it with your open throat. Let the intensity of your feeling match the size of your voice. Come back to the first position. Keep your throat open even through pain. If it wants to go, let it go. And tip your face up toward the ceiling a little bit. Feel the stretch in the front of your neck. Let yourself express that. Come back to the first position and send your bottom arm away from you. Feel the new intensity. Notice if your jaw wants to help you. Let it relax again. Tip your head down to the floor a little bit and feel the sweetest, juiciest spot for that bottom arm. The most delectable stretch. Tip your face toward the ceiling a bit. Stretch the arm away and feel that intensity. Let the other shoulder release. Release the bottom arm. Bring your head back to the side. Release the top arm. Leave your head where it is. And then pick it up with your hand. And notice how you feel in this moment. And just speak a word or two of your experience. Speak out loud a word or two of your experience. It might not be English, it might be sort of Jejabla. Stick your tongue out far. And yawn with your tongue completely out. With the feeling of that yawn and your tongue out, slide through your range just for the pleasure of exploring it. Gradually It's not about that at all. And I'm going to help you by just touching your spine, okay? So I'll just touch your spine right at the atlas, and I'll say let go here. And I'll say let go here. And I will notice my own body. Am I holding my knees? Am I holding my jaw? My legs here. You can bend your knees a lot. Yeah, great. So you want to end up with your chest sort of lying on your knees. That means you might need to
Don't do it, George.
Yeah, well, as close as you can get to that position. Oh, no, with your butt in the air though. Yeah, okay, so that's good. The position that you end up in is not as important as the fact that your spine is hanging from your sacrum down, okay? So once you're down there, breathe into my hands here, George. And I'll probably breathe with him just because that's what happens. And then make a sound, a long sound of any vowel that comes from here and falls up your spine and out your top of your head.
Ooh.
Great, yeah. Ooh. Great, and just keep exploring that feeling of the sound coming up your spine like that as I bring you back up. So stack up here. Ooh. And the sound might change. It might become one note, or it might go the other direction. Keep it connected all the way down the spine. Let's try a note that's a little bit less controlled, like a just a messy, something that you're just letting go of. Great. Is your jaw letting go? Wonderful. Do you hear the change in that? Marvelous. Checking my knees and checking his knees. You can pause in between breaths so you have a little more time. Don't get dizzy. Let yourself breathe in through your open mouth. And breath all the way down here. Great. And when you're ready to, look out at eye level and see the world. No one above you, no one below you. My rectus abdominis or my obliques, then it goes like that. My body's going to pull down like that, and you can hear the change in my voice. The vocal folds are not happy with that much air. So, do this in partners. Arch back. Feel whether your ribs are staying open if you speak a little bit or if you sing. Check it out in partners. Tools here. So I'm going to go like this, and you'll be able to see this on me in a different way. So if you are somebody who couldn't find that, then create some sort of arching thing like this. Put your body over it. So you can find it the same way. Come close if you need to. And my ribs are open because I'm draped over this thing. And if you can tell when I'm speaking that they're going, the impetus is that belly goes in and the ribs go out. Unless I'm starting to go like that, and then it sounds like it's horrible and feels really bad to me, and I can really feel that action. So gravity and this position will help you a lot to discover how to find your transverse without using the rectus or the obliques. Cool? Cool. Is that okay? Okay. Great, so put your own hands in your stomach. Yes. takes 2 hours or more to undo the junk, so that now this is available to work with. When we did that twist, it's a really good way to let go of all the junk that might be in the way, the obliques, right? We were opening right along the line of the obliques there. What else did you figure?
So when the guys were doing it over there, you know, they'd say a word or they'd say something, so nothing really happened. But if you could get them to say a whole sentence,
Yeah.
the farther into the sentence they got, then you could actually see it really, really working.
Yes.
The farther into the sentence, because then they weren't really thinking about it.
Yeah,
And then you could see, oh my gosh, it's really, really working.
yeah,
Then,
yeah,
and you're like, oh, it is working.
yeah, cool.
So that was good.
Yeah, so the instinct kicks in at some
Yeah.
point. Yeah. Great, what else? What else did you feel?
Every time I tried to think about doing it right, I did it wrong. Which is why the long sentences were helping, because by then I'd forgotten about trying to do it right.
Right, right, and it just kicked in. Yeah, that's how we're made. What else? No more? Okay, so now you need to find a trio to work with, and it doesn't matter how tall or how short or what size the people are that you're with. So what we're going to do is a rather longer exercise where one person is going to sing, and one person is going to have their hands on their ribs and one on their transverse, assuming that that's okay with the person who's singing. If you don't want people touching you, just say, don't touch me, I don't want to be touched. That's entirely fair. It's your body, your choice. If you're okay with this, then someone is going to be giving you that physical feedback, okay? And the person who's touching, you don't have to say anything. You can just put your hands there and notice. And the other person will be like, oh, just having hands on them will give them more information. The other person is going to be the listener. And we're going to do this exercise at 2 or 3 different distances, depending how much time we have. So we'll start out at handshake distance, or rather, let's start at épée distance. So, like from here to the other side of the mat. Yes? One person will sing, one person will hold, one person will just listen. And take, I'll go ding at the end of 5 minutes. And then change partners within your trio, and then I'll go ding again, and then change partners again, and then we'll change the distance. Cool? Any questions?
I've been singing here, which is about a year and a half. I've been totally breathing the wrong way. And I've been just breathing from here and not pushing down here to make the voice go out, which that's totally a fundamental that I got wrong. And it was only, probably other guys tried to tell me, but I didn't listen. But anyway, doing this exercise with 2 other guys,
Yeah.
they, you know, want to put their hand here, want to put their hand here,
Yeah.
you're not breathing. It's all up here.
Yeah.
So I have to relearn that whole thing, because when I do physical exercise, and I don't know if I'm doing it wrong either, like I play soccer, so if I'm doing a sprint, but I don't know if that's the reason, or if I should be doing that kind of breathing when I'm doing physical work too, or whatever. But anyway, it's a whole new thing for me to learn, so I was really grateful for that.
What is the correct answer to what he just said?
Well, I know you think you know, but I don't know.
You run with your lungs full, and when you
Yeah.
slow down, you do the
I'm gonna
breathing.
run
You
it.
gotta use your, so I'll ask Doug because he's both a singer and a triathlete.
Okay,
I'll ask him
good,
next
there you
time,
go.
but he's
Yeah.
gotta
Yeah,
use
yeah.
his full capacity,
Yeah.
it's the
Yeah.
same thing.
Yeah, for me, I don't run much really, but when I run, like, you know, my daughter will say, can you meet the school bus at the other end of the road? So I'll run and wave at her as it goes by. Since doing this work, if I'm conscious about my ribs being open, then I'm more comfortable when I'm running.
Yeah, well,
So if I
because
run,
when you're running and you're saying, okay, so open your chest, because it's where your lungs are, your chest expands, and so that makes your stomach go in.
it's actually the other way around.
Yeah.
Stomach in
Okay,
makes the chest.
Well, then that's why I'm doing it the wrong way.
Right.
So, I've got something to work on.
There you
But
go.
if
Great.
if you look at those athletes running, they all have their pelvis tilted forward.
Uh-huh.
And when you tilt your pelvis forward, you automatically load
And
up
that
the
makes
bottom
your
part.
back more available for breath as well. Cool, great point. What else happened? What else did you learn? Or figure out, or are you still confused about it?
Your voices sound better when we do that.
Yes, indeed.
one of the easiest ways to breathe is to just expand the ribs.
That's exactly it.
Big difference and it makes a difference in the sound and sustainability and everything else.
Yeah, your voice sounds really different. Your speaking voice. Do you hear that? Yeah, your voice sounds
That's not
much larger.
Who are you?
What do you do, Andy? I'll have to try that when I'm singing, so.
Yeah, that's marvelous to know. Yeah. What else?
I'm finding it really easy tonight, and I'm wondering if I'm going to be able to do it tomorrow night. And I'm concerned about that, about doing it again.
Take my card.
Hey, good. Good, what we did.
Yeah, of course it takes practice, you know, you gotta figure out your own body, and there's doing kind of a huge group like this. I can't get around and check out what every individual body is doing, because our bodies are all unique and idiosyncratic, so we have to get into what's going on for you exactly.
I noticed something because of a comment that you made to us when you were asking some questions. You said that Louie, you need to not sing inside yourself, you need to be communicating. And I realized that when I sang the first time at close distance, I wasn't really trying to communicate anything.
Right.
And so the second time I noticed I did try to communicate, and I found that made a big difference to the ease with which I was able to sing it.
Cool.
So I think that might be a really important key in terms of getting the voice out there. You know, why resonate if you're not actually trying to communicate?
Yeah. Yes.
Charlie, in saying that, we were working with Travis, and I probably never ever heard him sing so wonderfully, with such good support, and the ability to carry through the phrase ending and finish it properly. And he was singing with much feeling, with a message.
So were you
So exactly.
you had communication in mind?
Second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was wonderful. He did a wonderful job, and Aspen did the same thing. Aspen did the same thing.
Cool. I was reading through my notes from January, which is when I did this huge amount of study on this work in LA. And one of the notes that I had written, and I'd forgotten about, was the difference between performing having an experience and having an experience. The difference between performing communication and communication. Which is, what are we doing? Are we performing, singing a song to someone, or are we singing a song to someone?
We're only pretending.
Well, you know, when you really get down to it, it's enormously vulnerable to actually be seen and heard. And I think that we don't give that enormity its full weight and just expect that, yeah, of course you should be able to get up there and with your full soul bared sing to an audience of, it's huge, it's an enormous undertaking, and you have to be really, really courageous to make yourself so available.
And vulnerable.
And
You're vulnerable when you get up there.
Yeah, to truly be seen is just a huge, terrifying thing.
But
And
the payoff is that it actually works better.
yeah, it does work better. And to be truly vulnerable and truly be seen means that they get to actually see you. And they get to actually have a real experience rather than seeing someone performing, singing something. Right?
Well, this exercise is an exercise to help teach all of this, to help people who aren't extroverts, at least for the moment, be an extrovert. And have to realize when it's all said and done, you didn't die. You know, and a lot of people have a fear of not being an extrovert in anything they do, because they have this fear of what people think, as opposed to saying, you know, people are going to really like that.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to get out there and do it.
Yeah. It's also possible as an extrovert to hide behind extroversion.
This reminds me of
when I was in high school, and we would be rehearsing in a very small little choir room. But she would, our choir teacher would always say, imagine that the wall is not there, and that you're standing on the stage of the Queenie, and you're trying to sing to your family member who's at the very, very back, or the orphan or something like that. Who's at the very back of the top row of the balcony.
Yeah.
And that's who you're singing to, and it would, and again, it was about, you were communicating to that, you're singing to that one person,
Yeah.
but that's where they are.
Yeah.
Awesome, Donya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I did bring cards if you want one. I also brought pitch pipe stickers. You have one of those Japanese pitch pipes that only has sharps on it? I have a sticker right there that has flats as well, which you may have. It's in that little red box. Oh, have yourself